Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Gulfstream today. Ron Nicoletti. It's breakfast at Gulfstream. We'll call it. Of course, we're just before noon this afternoon, and really beautiful day in South Florida. But we're not going to be on the turf this afternoon. We had three races scheduled. They're going to all be run on the fast main track, and we just had so much rain over here the last couple of days, and it needs to dry out. So we'll be back here, and don't forget we'll be running Wednesday and Thursday next week, including, of course, a fantastic 4th of July weekend. But we need the turf course to dry out a little bit more. With that said, we still have the same great wages. Great fun day with the mandatory payout in the Rainbow Six. They bet over $2.7 million in new money, and there was a lot of favorites that ended up paying about $500. But, you could have had it for 20 cents. I hope you made some profit on that. And we got a $50,000 jackpot guaranteed today in our Rainbow Six, starting anew in race number 5 this afternoon. So that takes care of all the early work that we had to do. So we'll get right into the first race. And this is one of the races that have come off the turf. It's a 1-mile event. It's going to be run on the main track. These are maiden claimers, 3-year-olds and up. $12,500. Only had the one scratch in the race of the number 6. And I just thought these horses at this level, can compete maybe on the grass and on the main track. We'll have to see how that plays out. But we started it off here with the current 9-5 favorite, and that's Captain Ziggy, who's making the third start of his current form cycle. After responding to the drop down, now he ran a nice second place finish. He was only beaten a length. That was on the turf, of course, but I just thought this horse has always faced better on the main track. So we'll see how this one runs. Georgina Baxter's got Marcos Meneses in the saddle. The number 8, Juguete, will depart from the outside. Now, if you look at his last race, he rallied to finish 4th behind Captain Ziggy last time out. So Rodolfo Garcia is the trainer. He got Miguel Vasquez handling the rematch, and they're going to rematch today, as I mentioned, on the main track. The number 7, He Ain't No Saint, is stretching out slightly to the mile on the dirt after rallying to finish 4th. Was only beaten 1.5 lengths in that race against those 12-5 maidens. That was going 7.5 on the grass. Jose Pinchin got our leading rider, Edgar Zayas, in the saddle this afternoon. So we'll see how He Ain't No Saint runs here. And it's sort of a lot of guesswork here with these 3-year-olds and bottom level types, how they're going to handle the main track. And I just think Captain Ziggy, with that speed, is going to be the one to beat now. Second race was always scheduled for the main track, and it's fast. This one's a 5-furlong maiden claimer for fillies 2-year-olds, and they run for $50,000, no scratches or jockey changes in race number 2. And I went with the number 4 horse in here, She's So Beautiful, who's dropping to the $50,000 level today on the main track. Went up, set the pace, and finished 3rd. That was her special weight debut, going 5 on the grass. Carlos David, Sammy Camacho would top this daughter of Air Force Blue by Warfront. I just think this is a logical shot. They tried the horse in the grass, coming back to the main track today. She's So Beautiful, I think the morning line favorite, if I remember. The horse that's second on the morning line is the 3 Magic Victory, who's the daughter of First Dude, debuting for our leading trainer, Saffie Joseph Jr., and he's got a really solid, 19 or 20% win average with his freshman runners. Edgar Zayas is going to hop aboard today. Now, you've heard me say this numerous times before. The name of the one horse is Acacia Help Me. So you heard me say that a lot of times from my co-host Acacia Courtney. This is the daughter of Includa. It's a really interesting name there. Debuting for Tom Proctor. Series of solid workouts showing up at Palm Meadows. Romero Mirage is going to jump aboard. Acacia Help Me. You got to ask Tom Proctor how he came up with that name. And how he knew that I needed so much help from Acacia most of the time. So that is race number 2 for me. 4, 3, and 1. Third race this afternoon, 6 furlongs, allowance optional claimer for state-bred 3-year-olds and up. Well, the optional tag of $12,500 did get hit here by the scratch bomb. So we got 2 horses out of the race, the 3 and the 5. So we're dealing with only a 4-horse field. And I like Bailey going in before the scratches and after the scratches. So Bailey cutting back to 6 furlongs. We're actually going to go back and show you this horse's last race. Stumbled slightly at the start, so we're going to pick it up at the start. Bailey is the number 3 that day. You're just going to see this horse stumble at the start. And then as that happens, a lot of times you will see these horses rush up into the field. So that, they have to use use that extra energy just because of that. It wasn't a bad bubble, but just has to see that the horse has to rush up and get position in there. And I just thought turning for home that this horse, because of that, ran very well in the race for Saffie Joseph Jr. And I think with the scratches in here, this horse is going to probably be odds on, but we'll see how it runs. I thought it was a fine performance at 2-1. Just couldn't beat the 7-5 favorite in that race was the number 6 horse, just held on. But I thought had a legitimate excuse with Bailey with the start. What about our old buddy, Vinny Van Gogh? This horse, if you look at his past performances, he's been claimed in 9 of his last 12 races. Now he goes to the Saffie Joseph Jr. barn, going to take the blinkers off this afternoon and stretch out after finishing 3rd against this level of competition. That's going 5.5 furlongs. The barn is solid with the blinkers off, angled 23%. You don't need to tell me that Saffie does an excellent job with anything. And then Star Wancho stretching out to 6, finished 2nd against Simler, going 5.5 furlongs. So I think if you're putting a pick 3 ticket together, I think you use the 1 and 6, and you're pretty safe in race number 3. 4th race this afternoon is a 7-furlong sprint. These are maiden claiming. Fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up, $20,000. Did have a scratch in here of the number 1. I went with the 2 horse in here, and that's Queen Street, who's dropping to the 20 level today. She's making her first start. She ran into a buzzsaw. She was second by a horse that was really good that day, and that was Our Adios Jersey. That horse drove to win it by like 12 lengths. It was back last December, but it's David Fawkes. He's got Emesil Jaramillo handling the first start in 6+ months. So I just, in this spot, keen off that performance last time out. I thought there was no chance that horse could beat that. Hasn't been seen in the wild. Couldn't beat, Our Adios Jersey that day. Nobody was. So I'm going to key off that performance. The number 6 horse in here, Elusive Uncaptured, is dropping to the 20 level and stretching out to 7/8 of a mile. Showed some speed and faded, but that was against 50 maidens going 3/4 of a mile last time out. If you weren't here on Friday, Kathleen O'Connell, what a weekend she started off with. You had 3 starters on Friday and had 3 winners. So Kathleen's barn certainly heating up. Got Luca Panici handling the class relief this afternoon. They tried it at 50, dropping it down to a logical level today. The number 7, Mizzen. This one is dropping into the maiden claiming ranks and getting Lasix today. First outing since finishing 4th. That was against special weight runners at Gulfstream Park West for 1C Avila. He's pretty good with maidens making their second start, about 28%, but this one coming off the bench. And you're getting Carlos Olivero in the saddle today. So Queen Street, the 2, the 6, Elusive Uncaptured, and number 7, Mizzen for me in race number 4. We'll take a short break. When we come back, I'll have my Rainbow 6 ticket.
In the 2 path. Ground off her inside. Race. A 1/4 of a mile to go, and he's 6 yards out. Last of the 12 as they roll into the backstretch.
Welcome back to Gulfstream today. Ron Nicoletti here, and it is a nice Sunday afternoon. The main track is fast. If you're just joining us, no turf racing this afternoon because we've been inundated with rain over the last week, so we're going to wait for it to dry out for our special week of racing next week when we'll be running Wednesday, Thursday, not on Friday, and again coming back for a fantastic 4th of July weekend, so we'll see how that plays out. But the 5th race, is 7 furlongs. This one originally scheduled for 7.5 on the turf. Now to be run at 7 furlongs on the main track. These are claiming fillies 3-year-olds or fillies and mares 4-year-olds and up, non-winners of 2 races in life. 12.5 down to 10,000. We got a bunch of scratches in there because of the move to the main track, but I still had horses I used on top of my ticket in my Rainbow 6. I did go to 3 deep in here. I didn't want to get get knocked out in the first leg. I went with Glitter Bay, who I think is the one to beat. Hot Babe has got some really nice campaigns on the main track. And then the 14 Starship Blanca I used on my ticket. Too deep in race number 6 with Kurt's a keeper and Black Belt from Mark Cassie's barn in race number 7. Too deep once again with Pudding for Kathleen O'Connell, but I also used High Heater in there. I wish I could have gone a little deeper in that race, but wanted to pare down my ticket because of just the $50,000 jackpot guarantee today. Race number 8, this one is a pretty good betting race. I went with La Chica Lateral. It's going to be a lot of people's singles in there, but I thought maybe I can upset with Patrick's Last and Sunshine City in there. Got a single today, and that's the Forca Salsa. Got all my money today on Peter Walder and Edgar Zayas with the two-step salsa gelding. Easy for me to say. Lots of coverage in the last race. That was taken off the turf. Martyr of Charity is a first-time starter from barn. Louis Rossello's going great. Free data, and I like 2 horses in there. There's 4 and the 11 from Terry Pompey. We'll talk about that when we get closer to that race. But let's go back to this 5th race now. And I'm going to tell you why I like the 2 in here, Glitter Bay. Drop it to the 12.5 level on the main track after opening and surrendering a 2-length lead when failing to finish last. But that was 25 claimers. It was going a mile on the turf. If you look back, she's always faced better on the dirt. It's Saffie Joseph Jr. It's Edgar Zayas rationing her speed this afternoon. The drop, I think the move to the main track is not going to be a problem. She's got that speed. As I mentioned when I was talking about my ticket, Hot Babe, 5 for 7 in the money on a fast track, and she goes back to the dirt. She had some early trouble in the last race. She finished 4th, going 5 on the grass. She broke her maiden, going 7 furlongs on the dirt. Chantal Sutherland rides for Paul Kopach, and Paul Kopach had a winner yesterday in a similar situation when we had to take the races off the turf and move it to the main track. So we'll see how that horse runs. Really good record, in the money record on a fast main track. And the 14 Starship Blanca, those 14 and 15 when you're doing these races, both of those horses got into the race. We had scratches of the 1, 4, 6, 9, 11, 12, 13. So 14 and 15 get in. 14 is going to be ridden by J.C. Diaz Jr. This one is Starship Blanca. And this one can sit the trip. I see the speed with Glitter Bay. I see the speed with Hot Babe. Maybe this one sits the trip right behind them. Certainly, if you look at her performance on the dirt a couple of starts back, she's right in the hunt with this level of competition. The 6th race this afternoon is where our late pick 5 is going to kick off today. And we do have 2 pick 5s, of course, in early and late pick 4 on a 10-race card. It's a 6 furlong sprint. These are maiden claimers, 3 and up. Clean slate, no scratches, jockey changes. I went with Kurt's a keeper, who's dropping into a competitive spot, I believe, and after stepping up off the claim by Leon McCannis and finishing a stalk to pace 3rd. That was against $50,000 maidens. I think this is a perfect spot. Miguel Vasquez will be in the saddle. Number 7, Black Belt, who was 3rd versus 50 maidens the last time he sprinted on the dirt. Now goes back to the main track after returning from a couple of month layoff to finish a sightseeing 7th. That was against $50,000 maidens going a mile and a 16th on the turf. Mark Cassie, Edwin Gonzalez handling a combination drop down and surface switch. I just think this horse, if you just go back, he proved he can run on the dirt. He proved he can run on the dirt against a tad tougher. So, and then the other horse I used in race number 6 was Uno Tiger, who's making his first start. He had trouble at the start. He was squeezed. He finished 6th, wide sixth, I should say, that day against those 35 maidens. That was back in April. Once again, Kathleen O'Connell, Luca Panici atop this gelded son of Macho Uno. And Kathleen, I mentioned the other day when I was doing the show with Ashley, when Kathleen's barn gets hot, you have to really pay attention. And she came back and had 3 winners on Friday, which is pretty cool. 7th race this afternoon is a 7 furlong sprint. These are claimers 3 and up, 20 down to 16. 7 in the field, no scratches, no jockey changers. I went with the number 6 Pudding, talking about Kathleen O'Connell. I'm a big fan. I guess I'm the head of the Kathleen O'Connell fan club today. This one's making his local return for Kathleen after a solid campaign up at Tampa Bay, where she starts a lot of horses during the winter. Includes that odds-on victory at this level last time out. The barn is pretty good with the 61 to 180 layoff. They're about 21%. And Sammy Camacho will be in the saddle again today. So Sammy rode this horse up in Tampa. Absolutely knows how to get pudding mixed in. The number 5, High Heater, is going to face 20 open claimers today, 20,000 open claimers after failing to get on track. But that was a good race. It was a 25 optional claimer that's produced a pair of next out winners. So comes out of a pretty hot race. Peter Walder has Miguel Vasquez at the top. This son of Creative Course, who's a perfect 2 for 2 at this 7 furlong distance. One of my favorite angles. 7 furlongs, that in-between distance. And this one, every time it ran, only twice so far, has been successful at 7 furlongs. Then the number 2, Tony Small. I'm going to really not say Tony Small is hoping to come up big. You would expect that from me, but I'm not going to do it today. But this one is turning back to one of his best distances. 6 starts, 3 wins, 2 seconds after rallying to finish second versus a hard-knocking field of 16 optional claimers going to 1-turn mile. Just some of the hard-knocking horses we have around here. Dennis Ward has Carlos Lugo handling the turn back this afternoon. So for me in race number 7, it's the 6 Pudding, the 5 High Heater, and the 2 Tony Small. In race number 8 today, it's a 6 furlong starter optional claimer for fillies, 3-year-olds that started for $25 or less, or the optional claiming price of $25,000. And as I mentioned, when people are putting their Rainbow Six ticket together, a lot of people, and rightly so, are going to be singling, the 6 La Chica Lateral. We're going to go back and show you this horse's second performance, won its debut. This is at Tampa Bay, and they're going to pick it up from the 8th pole home, where it's just a window dressing, race here. Just wins for fun in this race. So perfect 2 for 2, and now goes to Sappy Joseph Jr.'s barn after the claim. As I mentioned, back-to-back victory. This horse was so impressive. It's a daughter of Shitu, working sharply up at Palm Meadows in preparation for the return. And as they always say, what do you got to get hit in the head with a rock? This looks like a pretty tough horse in here. So why did I go 3 deep? Because if you can beat this horse somehow, you can get your Rainbow Six to pay nicely. So the number 7's Patrick's Last is cutting back to 3/4 of a mile. After dueling throughout the whole race and holding on gamely to defeat State Bred Allowance Run, is going 7 furlongs. I just thought for trainer Louis Russell, you just look at his record here. He's just a fantastic guy, and his horses are running well. He's over 32%, and he's got this daughter of Adios Charlie working well for this assignment. So one of the horses I'm hoping can beat, I think, is going to be the big favorite in there. So, and then the number 4 horse in here, Sunshine City, who's dropping, going back to the main track today and cutting back to a sprint distance. So getting a lot of changes there, showing speed and finishing second and first, respectively, in a pair of 35 starter optional claimers going a mile on the turf. Bobby DeBona, really good, 26% with horses going from turf to dirt. And this horse has been in really good form. So here's the reasoning I used the 3 in here, even though La Chica Lateral, I think, is going to be a major player in that spot. My Rainbow Six ticket, when you saw it earlier, a little earlier, you saw I had a single in there, and it comes in this 9th race, which is a 6 furlong claimer for 3-year-olds or 4 and up, non-winners of 2 in life, 20 down to 16. And my single was the number 4, Casalsa, who should be, you would think, primed and ready to score after returning from a 7-month layoff to press the pace and finish 4th. I thought it was a screw-tightening performance. At the distance, it's Peter Walder, it's Edgar Zayas. Atop this 2-step Salsa Gelding. So I had to go somewhere and get a single to make my ticket affordable today, and I thought this was a logical contender. The number 6 horse in here, Flipping Fish, which is my co-host Ashley's one of her favorite horses. She likes all the fish horses for some reason. This one should take the lion's share of the betting action after responding to the class relief with that 2nd place finish at this level and distance. Talking about guys, trainers that have been having a great meet. Ron Spatz has been just going so well. He's a big fisherman, too. Has Miguel Vasquez in the aisle. So Flipping Fish, a major player in there. And then you got the 7 JR Speed, who proved to me he could compete at this level after stepping up off the claim by Mark Paisley and finishing 3rd behind who? Flipping Fish. He'll try to flip the previous outcome with Sammy Camacho in the saddle. So a little bit of a shaky single for me there with Casalsa, but if I can knock a couple of horses out, maybe I can get this one to come home, and that'll be pretty good for me. The last race was originally scheduled for the turf. It'll be run on a mile on the main track. Maiden special weight, fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up. And I went with the number 3, Martyr of Charity, who's the daughter of Empire Maker, debuting for Mr. Louis Roussel with Lasix and a string of really solid workouts showing right over the Gulfstream Park main track in preparation for the debut. Hall of Fame jockey Edgar Prado is going to be aboard today. So I just thought Martyr of Charity with the move to the main track might be a logical contender. Tough with first-time starters to win at a mile. So I had some coverage on my Rainbow Six ticket. I went with 10 Free Data, who's the daughter of Warfront, $150,000 stud fee with Warfronts, who I absolutely adore on the turf. This one's going to stretch out to the mile on the dirt. Closing to finish third in her 5-furlong turf debut for trainer Tom Proctor. He had another horse in here that scratched out. Certainly she's bred to love the distance and beyond, so we'll see how this Warfront filly can run this afternoon. Then, as I mentioned earlier, I like 2 horses from Terry Pompey. It's why I went 4 deep in my Rainbow Six. The first one is Mislo, who's stretching out to the mile for Terry after returning from a layoff, and she finished second. It was against 50 maidens, going 6 furlongs on the dirt. I love intermissions when they're going a mile, and this one is absolutely ran well on the dirt, and this, of course, was originally scheduled for the turf. But I couldn't leave the number 11, Coltham, off my ticket, who's stretching out slightly to the mile on the dirt after finishing a promising third. That was her 7.5-furlong debut on the turf. As I mentioned, it's from Terry Pompey. Lionel Reyes handling this outside draw. This is a $90,000 daughter of American Pharaoh, certainly bred to handle both the dirt and the distance. So that's how I see the 10-race card. I think it's going to be a great day of racing, but we're not done yet. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, I'll have our lightning round this afternoon.
Start winning at the races with Daily Racing Form's new Mobile Pass Performances. Access the most trusted information in horse racing, including exclusive buyer speed figures and DRF analysis and selections. Experience the new mobile optimized DRF Pass Performances on your phone from anywhere at any time. Go to drf.com/now. Use coupon code NOW to get a free single card and get the power of DRF in the palm of your hand.
And welcome back to Gulfstream today. Ron here for you. And as I mentioned, we're going to have our lightning round. And we've had some fantastic local horses and horses that we love here at Gulfstream Park running around the country. And boy, they just did some fantastic work. But we're going to start it locally. We're going to show you the stretch run of our stakes race yesterday. And then, not surprising, where Fighting Force got a perfect setup with a strong pace in front and drove to win a very impressive performance. I thought it was a good performance. So for Jeff Engler and the connections, and that was our only turf race on the afternoon, so they had races came off the turf after that, so they wanted to show you that race. Latruska, this is one of the most amazing horses. If you remember, broke a maiden here and is, just been incredible. So she's a Gulfstream favorite. We're going to go to Churchill and showing her winning the Grade 2 Fleur de Lis at Churchill Downs. Not only did she win it, she just blew the doors off the competition. It was unbelievable how she ran, after, that's her second or third consecutive graded stakes victory. So she was just so impressive for Fausto Gutierrez, who, of course, spends his winters here, and he's very involved in all the racing from South America. So great to see that. Latruska has turned out to be an absolute monster. Then, on next Saturday, we have the Princess Rooney, which is a Grade 2 win in your id. If you win that race, you actually get a chance to go to the Breeders' Cup. So one of the horses that ran here last year is going to be coming back to try its luck in the Princess Rooney, and that's Bronx Beauty. And Bronx Beauty, we're going back to December when this one just gets beat in the Sugar Swirl, the Grade 3 Sugar Swirl, back on December 12th. So I just thought that Bronx Beauty, I think it's going to have a shot in the Princess Rooney, and that is, of course, next Saturday. Win in, you're in. It's our premier day of the summer next Saturday, so make sure you join us. And then, if you remember or you watched our show on Friday, we said on Saturday a horse that won here, it was going to win, who actually was very impressive, and that is Gilles. This one just goes and comes back and wins the Mother's Goose yesterday, of course, for Mr. Todd Pletcher, our perennial leading trainer here, and not only wins it, pays $38 to win in that race. So we were just showing that your horse on Friday, saying, here's one of our graduates. We'll see how this horse runs in the race, and comes back and pays $38. No, I didn't bet it. I should have, but I forgot that race was going off. I was busy with our races here. Of course, that was up in Belmont. So that's how we see the card and the fun lightning round today, where we got a lot of great horses around the country that have run at Gulfstream going on to prove this is one tough place to run your horses in the winter. So good luck today. Don't forget, our Rainbow Six starts in race number 5 with a $50,000 jackpot guarantee. And once again, I want to remind everybody, live racing next week, Wednesday, Thursday. We're off on Friday, and then we come back with that spectacular 4th of July weekend. So see you in a little bit.
And they're off. Second in the 2-path.